Hey everyone, welcome back to the Pixelated Realms. My name is Tyler, and today I'm really excited because I just finished Claire Obscura Expedition 33 by Sandfall Interactive. And I just had to immediately hop on the camera here and talk about it because I was so amazed by this game. The theme of this video is going to be Chef's Kiss. Claire Obscura Expedition 33 is one of the most interesting, ambitious, and well-done turn-based RPGs that I have played in a while, and I am happy to say that turn-based RPGs are some of my favorite types of games ever. Many of my top 10 favorite games are turn-based RPGs, including many of the Final Fantasy games, Persona games. Recently, last year we had Metaphor, ReFantazio. I put Claire Obscura right up there with these champions of the genre. From the fact that the studio, this was their first game, kind of just tells a tale even stronger, that they were able to kind of come in and create such an impactful, absolutely AAA product that we're seeing a lot of studios not be able to produce, even though they've had a great history in the past. So this is really encouraging. I did beat the entire game. I played about 60 hours. I'll wind that back just a little bit. I did not beat the one secret boss yet, and I won't reveal that. We'll try to keep this as spoiler-free as possible. But I'm looking forward to going and spending some time going and beating that boss. I will tell people, for anyone who is interested, that once you beat the final boss, you are able to go back and play the other places in the game. So don't feel compelled to I have to 100% this game before I go and finish it. Feel free to finish it, go back and do whatever is fun for you. Now let's get into the game here. Claire Obscura Expedition 33 is an amazing game. There's no other way to put it. The game starts, and hopefully I'll get some visuals for everyone on here. The game starts where it ends. There's a lot of cyclical elements of this game. You start actually overlooking in this prologue. You start on this what do you call it? On the rooftop, basically, of these buildings. You're overlooking the area actually where the prologue ends. Then you spend your entire prologue interacting with each character and getting to understand what the Garmage is and why everyone is feeling the way that they do. The emotional impact in such a short period of time is really telling of how this game is going to emotionally carry you through it and continually hit you with it, regardless of the combat or the other elements of the RPG. Immediately, we are hit with some real life grief, some very realistic a very unrealistic scenario that is hinting on very realistic ideas in our world. And that is, when you lose loved ones, how do we grieve, right? This game can really be defined as kind of how human beings deal with grief of the death of loved ones. And it's an analysis of how different people deal with grief and how people deal with significant amounts of grief. And really, it's a story of a family and their grief. I won't go into more spoilers, but I really recommend playing it because the story is fantastic. So we continue in the prologue, and we find out our main character, Gustav, has a love who is 34 years old, or 33, or whatever. And we find out very early on, this isn't a spoiler because it's part of the prologue, that's where I'll stop. We do find out that basically every year, there's one less year of life that you're able to live. So if you're 33, everyone who's 33 dies. If you're 32 the next year, then everyone who's 32 dies. So as you can see, that quickly creates a problem with their population. They're a dying population, and they don't have long left. So they send the expeditions out to try to go kill the paintress who, according to what they see, is the one who is painting these numbers and killing people. And the adventure you have is really fun, and I recommend you play it once again. But I do just want to emphasize the prologue of this game sets the stage perfectly. It is a perfect prologue. I have no notes. It is so emotional. The first 10 to 15 minutes of the game had me almost crying, and I don't even know these characters yet that well, but I already did know them, right? They gave us so many examples. Oh, talk to this guy who you've interacted with, or, give us little hints here when you go talk to this person, right? It's not like a direct hint. It's not like, hey, you live here and you did this. It's like, oh, are you still mad at me because I didn't want to have children in this messed up world? And they're just piss off. It's a really interesting, there's a lot of grief dynamic of all these characters going around. Also, there's a great mystery, right? This world and the story in it is very mysterious. We don't know why everything's torn apart or fractured. It looks like our world. It kind of looks like a European, inspired, French kind of inspired thing. So there's a lot of mystery. The next thing I want to talk about with this prologue is just the absolute beauty. And the prologue is gorgeous. You are walking through this. It's making your graphics card pump like crazy, but It is just the most gorgeously rendered game that I have seen in a long time. And it's not just the visuals themselves. It was the way they thought about the visuals and they spaced them out. Everything just makes sense. It's very, it does a good job of telling you where to go next, but also structurally makes sense. You know, it's just all there for me. And I found that did not slow down one bit as the game progressed. Another thing that didn't slow down at all was the music. And if you know anything about this channel or me, you know that music is my my area, and I love game music. It is my most passionate topic in this world. And the music from the very get-go, as soon as you start the menu, the music captures you. It really captures you. You know, we can use fancy words to describe it, but just go listen to it yourself. Then, as we start the game, music continues to be this mainstay. It continues to be something that is part of our emotional journey. And we can dive into some of the specifics later, but music plays a huge role in this game. We find out it even plays a role in the story in some ways. Absolutely amazing music. I think they absolutely deserve the awards they got and the accolades they got. I am super impressed. I will be listening to this one for a long time. I think it's really been impactful. So the prologue is incredible. It's going to really set you up for an amazing journey. And then you're quickly thrust into the adventure of this world. Now, we're not going to have time to talk about all the aspects of this adventure, but it is well paced, which is something I really appreciate nowadays, especially for a game like this. The pacing just felt right. There was never too much combat. There was never too much exploration. I always was just having fun exploring or diving deeper into the story. They were always introducing new elements that were relevant to the plot and relevant to our characters' grief and their story. They also weren't afraid to throw curveballs, which I think is really great. You know, it's so many video game stories can be predictable. This one is not predictable. And that is kind of so much fun when you're already having fun with the fighting mechanics. And then you have this story that kind of drives you forward. Not to mention, you know, some screwballs and some curveballs, I guess is what I was looking for. Some curveballs to kind of like throw you for a loop and really keep you interested. Another thing this game did really well was the overworld. So you do participate in an overworld, and that overworld was so much fun. It kind of has this tilt shifty feel to it. So if you don't know what tilt shift is, it's a type of photography where you kind of make things far away look very miniature, right? So everyone looks kind of miniature, and you're getting to run around this overworld map, discovering items, fighting monsters. There's a gestural hunt. The gestrals are these fun little beings that are kind of comic relief during the story and during the game.
This will be useful.
And it was just once again, it was beautiful. It was just gorgeous. I enjoyed running around every second of it. So many different biomes and things to explore. The end game especially, you just are unleashed and you have so many things to explore. I just spent 10 hours doing it without even thinking about it. I streamed all day yesterday, just playing and playing and playing. I just couldn't help but love every single second of exploring that outer world, finding the music. They had little games at these different beaches that you could like unlock outfits and hair. Even the little things really worked for me. So usually, you know, in a game, like say they have unlockable costumes, right? I'll be honest, you know, if I'm happy with the default costume, I usually won't try too hard. You know, maybe I'll go out of my way once or twice. In this game, I felt not only did I not feel like I was trying for anything, I was compelled to go get these little things because I was having so much fun. I wanted to have a new outfit for my character. You know, I wanted to see what they looked like. To me, these characters, just as the plot kind of describes, became real. You know, they became very realistic human beings to me. They had that full range of emotions, which is just such a pleasure. If you've read a book, seen a movie, or played a video game where you feel like those characters have been brought to life, that means someone did a really good job with their storytelling. So let's go into the combat a little bit. Combat is a real high point of this game too, which I'm really happy to say, because I think there was so many elements that were going right here. If the combat wasn't nailed, they actually would have had a really hard time getting off the ground. I would describe the combat as a turn-based RPG, very similar to a Final Fantasy or a Persona game. I'm going to lean more towards the Persona games and the Metaphor ReFantazio comparison, because not only do you have skills that you can use, but you have the ability to kind of shoot a weapon, which is very similar to Persona or Metaphor ReFantazio. But you have a system called Pictos, and basically you learn these abilities, and then you can use points, basically your ability points, to have those abilities on at any time. Now, what this really reminds me of is one of my favorite RPGs of all time, Final Fantasy IX. you did the same exact thing. You would use a weapon in that game. That weapon or item, any item now that I think about it, any item in that game would teach you an ability after so many battles. Then you would have a certain amount of points that you could use then to select those abilities without having to have that equipment on. I felt the same way about this game. It's just a fun way to do things. It makes you use all of your equipment, but it also teaches you how to optimize in the end. I really enjoyed it. It really got my ML build going crazy. You know, there's a lot of builds online, a lot of one-shot builds. I was kind of able to make this Mael one-shot build by myself. I didn't have to look anything up. It just naturally kind of spoke to me because the game was just designed in a smart manner. Really enjoyed that. Combat-wise, it's also very heavy on the parry mechanic. So if you're not a big fan of parrying, I can understand that. Maybe this game isn't exactly for you, but I implore you to give it a shot anyway. Parrying in this game has several, you end up learning by the end of it that there's only so many different combinations of parry. Parrying also gives you the opportunity to counterattack, which is really fun because that means if you're perfectly parrying and doing a really good job, that you're going to get extra damage and end the battle faster. I thought that was such a fun way to approach the game. It kept me on my toes 100% of the time. There's no downtime in this kind of turn-based game, which I think is really unique. It's also a bit, it kind of elevates that Persona Metaphor ReFantazio experience that I was just talking about, and the same kind of with Final Fantasy. So I was just really impressed. They give you lots of different weapons, lots of different stats. You distribute them. We can go into that more detail later. I will say, maybe not a negative, but something that I think they could have clarified a little bit better was the way that the stats worked and the menuing for the Pictos and the equipment. At times it was a little bit confusing. Sometimes I felt like I had to do things I didn't want to do because that's just how the game was designed. I think it was really close to perfect. I just think there was a little bit of tweaking that needed to happen, maybe just a little bit more clarity on how these things work. Stats ended up kind of feeling useless by the end. And when you switch a weapon, you're actually what your stats scale off of switches. So you're required to use something called a recoat to wipe away your stats and reset them. However, recoats are technically a finite resource. So I didn't feel like I could switch weapons infinitely because I had a finite resource to reset my stats. So that was just one thing. I think it probably worked out for the better. However, in the end, I was really happy with the system overall. Combat, we had 5 characters to play from. Hope that's not spoiling it for anyone. And they all play really fun. They all have unique mechanics. And that's all I'll say for now because I don't want to ruin things. I really want to harp on the story more, but I don't want to ruin things for everyone. But I will say it is worth it. I'm going to go ahead and watch 20 YouTube videos after this to learn more myself. But just know it has lots of curveballs. It's not what you expect. That's for sure. It's definitely not what you expect, but you will enjoy it. And in the end, you do have, monumental impact on the results of the game. So I know I'm going to be playing it again. And once you finish, you do have a new game plus option. So for all of those of us who are wondering and you really want to get in and start one-shotting everyone, you do have that new game plus option. So just to wrap up my thoughts here, I really just want to say Metaphor ReFantazio is a fantastic game. It's one of the best turn-based RPGs that I have ever played. Is going to be making my top 10. There's a couple things here and there that kind of make it not shiny perfect, but I think they are one buff away from being perfect. And I just got to give it to Sandfall Interactive for producing their first game, which is one of the most amazing achievements, I think, in video gaming. Absolutely deserved the Game of the Year, absolutely deserved all of its accolades and awards. I cannot wait to see this refresh the turn-based RPG world, just like we saw with Baldur's Gate 3 and the CRPG. I want this to show this game has shown the world that we are ready for turn-based RPGs again, and Final Fantasy took the wrong direction, and that we want to play turn-based games. And they can be active turn-based, they can have parrying mechanics, but we want to have that turn-based. And it can work, it can be beautiful, it can make you cry, it can make you have an amazing time, and chef's kiss, guys. If you haven't played Claire Obscura Expedition 33, please go out and try it. It was on Xbox Pass when I made this video, so that might be a great way to play it. But if you are a turn-based fan, if you're a fan of great story, if you're a fan of great music, this is a must play. I will be coming back to this years to come. I am so excited to be doing a video about it, and I appreciate you all for watching.
If you're gonna give someone flowers, you should probably do it before they wither and die.
What, the flower? Or Sophie?
Ooh, dark.
If you made it this far, thank you so much. The Pixelated Realms is just a passion project for us, but we really are trying to get it off the ground here. So if you could do us a huge favor, we'd really appreciate a like. We'd really appreciate a subscribe. And if you're feeling really good, a comment would be amazing, because we just want to keep bringing more content to you and playing these great games. Again, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on the Pixelated Realms. Ciao.